writing and all the film studies departments also a part of elevating the status of mainstream cinema?
I'd like to think. Well, I'd like to think people took notice of academics, but I'm not sure they actually do. I think it's partly through journalism. I think that's been a big part of it. But I also just think it's been through the sort of the rise of this new middle class against the older middle classes who preferred cinema to other forms of entertainment. And, it was extraordinary when we saw at the closing of the Commonwealth Games in Australia 4 years ago that India moved away from using folk dancers to using Bollywood dance as its representative. I mean, I think this change has been so massive that now, I actually feel slightly guilty for being part of it in whatever small way. As whenever you hear something that's allegedly a folk song, I can always name the film that song actually came from. That film culture is almost overwhelming other culture now in a way that becomes quite worrying.
Thank you. Your question there.
That had come out many years ago, and we never really got to hear about it so much. We don't hear about it so much anymore, except you see some YouTube clip now and then. Of course, there are reasons they were banned, so they didn't become so popular in Pakistan. What do you think of the movie Kashf? And the second point, if you can comment on it, how much truth is there in the claim that Khuda Ke Liye was financed by the Army's PR department, and the Army's PR department has many other such projects lined up to reverse their agenda in the 80s and 90s?
Fortunately for the Pakistan Army, I'm not their spokesman. So I will refer your question to the DGISPR. And as soon as he answers that, I will let you know. But I would expect that Shoaib Mansoor, we should take him at his word. He's a very gifted filmmaker. And I'm sure he mobilized efforts, resources. There are at least 2, 3, 4 co-investors of Ramchand Pakistani sitting right here. They're waiting patiently for the return on their investment, which will get to them, if not in this lifetime, in the next lifetime. But it's not as bad as that. But there are 4. On Khuda Ke Liye, I would rather go by what the credits say and not speculate. But on the other issue, just for clarification, Blood of Hussain was a very good film, but it was not in that sense a film made by a Pakistani resident. Because Jameel migrated to the UK many years ago, and he's a very gifted filmmaker, but partly financed by National Film Development Corporation. So I would not include it as Pakistani cinema. Expatriate Pakistani cinema, yes, but not Pakistani cinema. Yeah.
Many people think that we live in an extremely religious society, and of course extremism there. But I would like to share one thing, that we have destroyed thousands of schools and mosques, and we do not spare any religious institution, but no cinema has ever been bombed and touched. So it should encourage all the people, more cinemas, yes. So there is no one against building the cinemas. We destroy houses, homes, of course schools and mosques, but not really cinemas. So I think this should encourage the people to come forward and build more cinemas.
But please don't give anyone ideas about cinema.
Ideas. They don't lack ideas, the people you're referring to. Thank you.
Yes, quickly, more questions, and then we need to wrap up. So, yes, please, your question.
One question for you.
Yes.
Does she see every Bollywood movie?
I wish I.
So you make 4 books on Indian cinema. I just want to know whether you go through all the good and the bad.
I wish I could. Unfortunately, I was by mistake born in the UK and didn't discover Hindi movies till I was in my 20s, so I had a lot of catching up to do. But I do see at least some of a Hindi movie every day, yes.
Any question? All right. The last question from there, and then we'll wrap up.
For a good film that can be a success abroad, and how would you help raise finances? Especially, this is a question for the emerging filmmakers who might be interested, to get into this field. Thank you.
you have to decide as a filmmaker which part of the global cinema audience you want to reach. There are segments of that global cinema audience. There is the artistic audience, the festival audience, there is a semi-commercial audience, and there is an outright commercial audience, which will only go to be entertained. And there's nothing wrong with any of those segments. Film should be made for all those segments. Once you decide that, you have to develop a good screenplay. And that is the foundation for a cinema film. Once you have a screenplay, then you can approach international investors or domestic investors, some of them foolish enough to make the first step forward. And you can go to some sources. There are places, say in America, which finance script development. Our script, Rohamchand Pakistani, while it was still being written, got a $10,000 grant, which is very nominal, but it encouraged us to go further. And there are others that encourage good screenplay writing. So there's plenty of scope. All you need to do is to take that step. Thank you.
All right, I think we should wrap up. I can see the writers for the next session already here. So unfortunately, there's lots to talk about, and we haven't even talked about Maula Jatt. So, I mean, unfortunately, we have to stop here. And thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Rachel. Thank you, Javed. Thank you.
Everybody's watched. I was doing my PhD with them. I just wanted to share this. So collaborative mystery, murder mystery that was done right here in Karachi. So I thought that I gave this to the